Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. I'm your host Rob, and this video we're gonna do a little special Godzilla 2014 video, how I would do it if I was the director. Okay guys, welcome back. So here's the deal. This was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Because at first I was really going to take the director role and just kind of revamp everything from actors and everything. And that proved to be tough because it's already kind of set in stone in my head of who these actors are. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm not going to overburden myself too much. I'm going to stick with the actors that are in this movie. I'm going to stick with the overall theme of what they already have established. I'm just going to tell you how I would have done things. Now, the first thing is I would want to make sure, and this is in my world, so because it's my world, I can do what I want. I would have complete creative control over the movie as well as the marketing. So that would be like hands down. The first thing I would do is I would definitely portray this movie as a solo act. And it's not that I have a problem with Godzilla fighting a monster in this first movie, because I don't. I think it's epic. But when I say portray, I don't mean that I wouldn't have a monster. I would just show the public and make them believe this is a solo act. I would definitely go with an original monster. For starters, and this is how I would do it. I get my actors the same kind of secrecy, nothing changes, only the marketing. You know, I would release my first poster a lot sooner than they released theirs, probably 2011, late 2011, like maybe a year before the 2012 Comic-Con. I'd have my first poster. Official poster, not just something you find online. Official poster in theaters, because there have been some movies that have done that. You'd see a poster for a movie that doesn't come out for like another 2 or 3 years. So, and this one, it would just be a straight Godzilla with a symbol and like a shadow of like an eye or like half his face in a very, very dark image where all you can see is his eye, maybe his teeth. That's it. Doesn't reveal too much. So I'm just going to go through the marketing first, then we'll talk about the movie. So that would be it. That would be my number one. During 2012 Comic-Con, I would release the trailer, as they did, no different. My trailer, I think, would have been something along the lines of definitely showing that dark tone like they did. Show some nuclear testing images just to remind people of where this monster comes from. And then I would have like an underwater shot. See a crew in a submarine. They're doing their thing, military crew. And they get glitches on their sonar. And then you see the submarine shake. And then, boom, big crack in the hull. Water starts bursting in. You hear Godzilla's roar. That's it. I wouldn't show anything, not even a silhouette. It would just be something like that. And that's not even going to be in a movie. That's my concept. Short, sweet, nothing crazy. About a week later, maybe two. Now, you know what? Let's give it a month. Let people get pissed off. And then I'm going to release a viral website. And in the website, we'll have the first official trailer of the movie. I know, 2 years before. Not a long one, about a minute in length, right? And we're going to start showing people in New York, walking down the city. Everybody's going to work. One guy's grabbing a coffee. You know what I mean? People going, carrying a book. Just picture Manhattan during early morning rush hour where people are rushing to work, stopping to get coffee, stopping to get a bagel. If you don't live in New York, on every other corner there's like a stand of, somebody selling bagels and donuts and stuff like that, selling coffee. Then big tremor. You start seeing the building shake and all this rubble starts coming out. People are going crazy. People are running. People are falling into a big hole that is starting to develop in the ground. Kind of picture like the War of the Worlds type deal, but bigger. And as that whole develops, you see something. You see the concrete rising, and you see Godzilla's back coming up, and then you hear the classic roar, and then boom, end of the trailer, and that's how I'm gonna sell it. You're gonna see little bits of him. I want to give the impression that this is a solo movie, and so that's my first, and then do the whole viral thing on the website. You know, I want to give links to other hints where he might be in the world. Why does he come up? You know, stuff like that. Just general information. I can't get into too much detail. I really haven't thought about it, but not too much different than what they're doing now with the whole M.U.T.O website, where you have to just follow the breadcrumbs. Just lay some eggs or lay some breadcrumbs and have people follow it. So boom. Now during the filming, this is going to be my story. Godzilla is definitely created from nuclear energy. He is born in '54, but does not make his first appearance until now, our day. And when he first erupts on the scene, there's going to be, of course, and again, like I said, I'm going to keep the whole theme with Gareth and what they've done with the whole Dr. Serizawa, same actors, same characters, and kind of go with what I did in my plot with the whole study, the science study to help prevent nuclear radiation from the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But the difference this time is, instead of the reptiles getting, the amphibians and the reptiles getting disposed of and Godzilla being a lone survivor, this time other creatures that they studied, other creatures that they did tests on, those get disposed of. And in the beginning of the movie, I'll give one little hint that one might have survived, and then that's it. And you remember, if you see certain movies, especially the ones that really surprise you, you usually get a breadcrumb at one point or another that leads to the conclusion where you get that little shocker. So this Godzilla would be worldwide. I don't want him just going through certain paths, and it's going to be a 3-hour flick, straight up. And the other thing I would do is, while we still don't know the rating of this movie, my movie will be rated R. I don't want this to be anywhere close to friendly. I want people to be seen getting crushed. I want to see people falling out the building. I want people to be very scared when they're in that theater. I even want to see my Godzilla, you know, even grab people by the mouth and chomp them. Straight up like that. You know, when he shoots his atomic breath, I want to see people get burnt. Just like in 1954, when he blew his breath right on people and they got killed. And I would definitely have him start his rampage in Japan. You have to do that. You got to give homage. And I want him, instead of going through, like, heading towards, like, Hawaii, going in that direction, I want to set him in the opposite direction so he can rip up all of, you know, Asia, Europe, Africa. I mean, you know, and don't get me wrong, these wouldn't be long-winded scenes. Some scenes would be long-winded, some would be shorter, but I want to give the impression that this thing is everywhere. It's almost like a natural disaster that affects the world. And could you imagine seeing him destroy, like, some incredible landmarks like Big Ben, the Eiffel Tower? You know what I mean? I mean, it would be incredible. And obviously, once he runs through Europe, once he runs through Asia, Europe, Africa, some parts of Russia, he just crosses the ocean right into New York. And that's where he starts his rampage in the United States. And he cuts through New York, Philadelphia, goes straight down to the West Coast. Now, once I get into America, that's going to be like towards the end of my movie. And in between all this, and I'm giving you the path of destruction, the military takes one shot at him and forgets it. They give up. They take their first shot once, and every military takes one shot and that's it. And then once he gets to America, obviously America's having the best technology. Everybody's on standby because everyone believes that when Godzilla arrives to America, that America would be the one country to stop him. So everybody rides their hopes on the United States. The United States comes around, they send everything at him. They give him their best. Cruise missiles, stealth bombers, everything. They throw everything at him. New York is filled with wrecked buildings and bodies on the floor. and just a whole armada of the United States military, a collaboration of the Air Force, the Navy, everybody's there. You've never seen such a large collective of military units and military personnel on one target. And they line up. They all line up in one area to make a final stand at Godzilla, and they launch. And all you see is missiles, bombs, everything. You see smoke. And after about 3 minutes, 4 minutes of just constant bombardment, the smoke clears, and there's Godzilla just standing there, and he's kind of puts his arms like this, and he makes like his fist, and he starts to charge up, and you see his back starts lighting up, and lightning starts to hit his back, and he starts to build his chest up, and just lets out a huge bellow, and then the atomic breath just annihilates the whole military. And once that happens, show scenes of different parts of the countries of people and politicians with this look on their face like there's no end to this. There's no end, and there's no way to stop them. And right as that happens, out of the ocean comes this huge snake-like monster. And it's not friendly. It just happens to be growing and slowly following Godzilla throughout the movie. And throughout the movie, there'll be hints of that, but very subtle. I want people to think that maybe it's like military submarines or whatever the case may be. And this monster just pops up, and and I want it to be like a big surprise. Like, I don't want people to know that there's another monster in this movie. I just kind of want it to pop up out of nowhere, so that way people, not only would they be like, damn, this guy wrecked, Godzilla wrecked everything, blah, 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 but then now you get to see him get into a big fight. And him and this monster engage in a battle that just, it looks like New York had never had anything built on that land, you know? And, well, I know I said that he goes further inland, but I'm retracting that now because I like the whole New York being wrecked. I don't know why. That's horrible. I'm from New York. But they engage in this huge battle, and Godzilla does take some hits, and he definitely has a hard time with this monster. It's like a huge snake type, almost like Manda, but not corny looking like that. Think more like if you ever seen Harry Potter and you see the what's the name of that creature in the second movie? I forget. The basilisk, almost like a huge basilisk, and but doesn't turn anything to stone. It just has it's a lot like Godzilla because it took the same kind of testing and studies that Godzilla took. The only difference is it survived separate from its other creatures, and it's kind of like a cross between a reptile and like other creatures. So like, I couldn't even describe it right now. I mean, when I picture it, it looks like a snake, but it has certain other abilities. Like, it has toxins, and well, snakes have toxins too. But to make a long story short, I mean, this thing wraps itself around Godzilla. I even picture a scene where there's one tall skyscraper left, and the snake kind of backs Godzilla up against the building, and then wraps around the building around Godzilla, almost tying him to the building with his body. And then he comes around for a last loop, and he starts chomping on Godzilla, and Godzilla can't do anything because he's tied up. And then that's when we see the epic Godzilla where he kind of swallows his atomic breath, and then just boom, the snake explodes. And he's beat up. You know, he's got cuts and bites. He's bleeding. You know, arm kind of looks like it's broken. He's kind of, hunched over with his arm. But after that, and after kind of just hanging there for a minute, he looks at everything, and he turns around, and he continues on towards the West Coast. And right as that happens, you start to hear the classic music. You start seeing him pretty much shoot his atomic breath, almost like the ending in I think it's Godzilla Millennium. After he knocks a guy in the building, you see him turn around, and he just starts blowing atomic breath in the city, and that's how it ends. I think I would probably take that ending. I think I would take that ending and use it, and then as that happens, you start seeing the credits roll. Then obviously that scene cuts away. You see the credits. About 2 minutes into the credits, it cuts to another scene You see, and I didn't even really talk about the actors, which I probably should, because the actors are important to me. The storyline and the actors and character development is important to me, but I'm just thinking about the big picture here. So, but here's Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's in a helicopter. He's following Godzilla. Where was he the whole movie? Anyway, so they follow Godzilla on the helicopter, and they kind of hit him with a track. They want to keep an eye on him because they feel the worst is behind them, but they want to know because they know he's still alive, so they're following him. So Godzilla travels the ocean to an uncharted island, this huge island that had never been discovered. And you know, the military guys in the helicopter, Aaron Taylor Johnson, stuff like that, you know, they're like, we've never seen this. How could this place have not been discovered with all the satellites and the technology we have? And you know, they sit there in the helicopter and say, well, look, now we know where he is, and we'll always know where he's going to be. And then they kind of take off and back to try and recover society. So then you see Godzilla kind of moping onto the island. He's beat up. He's hurt. But he's going to make it. He's going to be fine. This is rest time. And he gets onto the island. And then right as he gets onto the island, you start to hear boom, boom, and he stops, and then he looks up, and then you hear a roar that kind of sounds like Angerus. Then you see another monster foot step down, and then Godzilla stands up. He lifts his head up and he roars, and then that's it. That's my credit scene right there. That's my Easter egg for the sequel. So. So as you can see, obviously not as polished as what they're going to come out with. I didn't even get into character development. I'll let you guys fill that in. I just wanted to get to the meat and potatoes. But again, and that's the kind of stuff I know I'm going to appreciate that. I'm definitely looking forward to the characters. I think some of you who have known me and have watched my videos in the past know that I'm very excited about the cast they have. But you know, when I started thinking about this and I started thinking about how I would do it, I got to talk about the main stuff, because we always know we can tweak the characters and the lines and stuff like that. But I had to get to the meat and potatoes, because the meat and potatoes alone took 17 minutes. So if I had added character development, this probably would have turned into a 3-hour movie that would have been just commentary. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's how I would do it for the first movie. Maybe if you guys like that enough, I'll give you a sequel sometime down the road. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it. You know, it's just kind of fun. It's kind of turning into a Kaiju Wednesday. So maybe we'll stick with that theme going forward. And we'll start talking about, you know, once the whole Godzilla thing is over, we'll start talking about other Kaijus. Anyway, guys, have a good one. Thank you for watching. Sorry for the long-winded video, but I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next one. Take it easy.